Hello everyone, I'm Ken Reels, and welcome to This Anime, the podcast that talks about anime past, present, and future, all with the exclamation of This Anime. And welcome to episode 4? Yeah, episode 4 of the My Hero Academia Rewatch series. And this is going to be a double-decker episode because we've got a movie to watch. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be covering the first of the My Hero Academia movies, My Hero Academia 2 Heroes, as well as the first half of My Hero Academia Season 3, which runs from episodes 39 all the way to episode 50, baby. That's right, we are 50 episodes into the series, and we're not even halfway done. That's right. So, let's start by diving into the movie. This is My Hero Academia 2 Heroes.
Can I become a hero, even if I don't have a quirk? In this superhuman society, 80% of the population has some special ability called a quirk. I was born without a power, but this is the story of how I became the world's greatest hero. Island, a mobile city of over 10,000 scientists! What the hell do you think you're doing here?
The other girls are here, they just can't visit the preview.
Allow me to introduce you to one of my best friends, David Shield.
I remember the day I designed your first costume.
Actually, I'm quirkless.
She's just like I was. You want to be someone who helps heroes.
Right. That's how I'm going to make a real difference. Or at least I hope so.
Play nice, because everyone on this island is my hostage.
I'll do what I can to stop the villains.
Poor, pathetic All Might. The only thing you can do is watch helplessly as your dearest friend suffers.
Don't take Papa!
What's the matter? It looks like you finally stopped smiling.
All Might!
We're going to stop these guys right here.
Don't you dare tell me what to do!
Is that all you got?
Go, Midoriya! Beat this villain! Everyone, I will save you, no matter what! My Hero Academia, 2 heroes, plus Ultra!
So, going into this movie, when I first went into this movie, I was very jovial. This movie released midway through Season 3. So, at the same time, Season 3 was... It's kind of nebulous because of where this actually falls. Like, 2 Heroes technically occurs before the end, before Season 3 even starts, because summer vacation is just started for Midoriya. So all the events of this movie technically take place before Season 3, but it also introduces characters that by the time this movie premiered, we already knew very clearly. So it's this weird thing, like, and the same thing goes for the other 2 features that actually technically take place after certain things, but come before. The only thing is the third movie, we know exactly when that takes place, and that takes place right in the middle of Season 5, because there's literally an anime-only episode that sets up the movie. So, that's the good news. I decided to watch 2 Heroes before I started Season 3, specifically because of just chronologically that all is how it worked. And as this movie is basically just a fan service movie, there's really not much substance to it. Granted, there is elements of this, especially the opening bit, where we see a young All Might in America. That actually is canonized. Like, specifically that is canonized. We don't meet that character probably until season 7 of the show. So, manga spoilers, but that part of the movie, that opening sequence, is actually technically canon to My Hero the manga, which is cool. And to be fair, most of the movies are canonical to some degree or another. However, there are some elements that are, well, let's just say, iffy. Very, very iffy on whether they're canon or not. And we'll get into those when we talk about the second movie specifically, because the second movie has some very big things about it that I'm not going to talk about till we get to it. But overall, Two Heroes is a fan service movie. I mean, we get some great characters, and we get some really cool new characters, especially when it comes to the professor and his daughter, who are, well, awesome. They're like very interesting characters, and there's a lot of depth. And what this show and what this story in general starts pointing out consistently is that there are different elements to every society. Like, the whole society, there are flaws, but it's when you're working within those to try and uphold the ideals of that society that kind of shine through, especially with Midoriya and All Might, and even some of the other kids. And this is actually the first point where I started to really, really go in depth and love the music of this show. The music done by Yuki Hayashi. I really started to appreciate his work starting with this movie, because when you take a movie, when you take like a show score isn't as profound or big. For when you have this much grander ideal, and I think that works on a whole nother level compared to the movie. Like, the movies take that grand musical score of the show and just make it bigger, and that's very hard to do. Like, when you have already a big score in animation and then take it to the next level, that's something special. That really is something super, super special. And I think this score is really good. Like, it really is a good score. And also it has the ending song, which is actually my favorite ending song, which is also the ED for the second half of season 3, Long Hope Philia. That is by far my favorite ED, just because the music. Like, I love the song more than I do, and like, I love the animation too of both of the ED in the anime, which we'll get to next episode when I talk about that. But yeah, no, this is really solid. I really enjoyed the movie itself. It's fan servicey as hell. It's a little above and beyond because it does try to connect itself somewhat to the stories that of the anime and the manga. It connects itself very minorly, and all of the movies do to some extent, but I think this is the hint that they are trying to do it, and I don't think they succeed until the third film. I think this is probably a little more personally. It feels a little more connected, but not at the same time with the show. I think the second movie is a little more out there at times, at least from what I remember. I haven't watched that movie since I saw it in theaters. And I remember specifically with this second movie, with the first movie, I mean, going to see this dubbed with a pretty packed house. I saw it in theaters, packed house. It was a fun time. It definitely is a good theatrical experience. There's a lot of fan service. Every single fan favorite gets their own moment to some extent. There are some characters that get just cameos. Sue, Invisible Girl, and Ashido get kind of shafted, as well as Tokoyami and Sugar Rush. Yeah, they get kind of sidelined. They're not big. I mean, the big guys, you've got Todoroki, you got Ida, Momo, Uraraka, Mineta, Kaminari, Bakugo, and of course Midoriya. Like, all those guys all get their moments to shine in their own action sequences. The other members of the class kind of get sidelined. They get cameos. They do appear, but they are not as prominent. They are basically just there for lip service and just say, "Hi, we were here too." It's kind of lame. It's not. It's why I feel like this, out of all three films, this is the bottom, but it's not bad. It's not a bad movie. It's just okay. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and My Hero Academia 2 Heroes, solid 8. It's a solid 8. Not necessarily exceptional, but it definitely does the job.
As we continue to race toward our dreams, we'll overcome any challenge or villain and save people with smiles on our faces. That's what it takes to be the greatest heroes. One for all. Full calling! Time to start the game. I'll kill you!
This is just a warning shot. Those wannabe heroes are gonna be pulled off their pedestals.
And with that, we are going to get into Season 3 of My Hero Academia. It is Season 3, the first half of Season 3, which is again, episodes 39 through 50. 50 episodes. This is crazy. Season 3, is what I lovingly call the camp arc, as well as what I call the Bakugo retrieval arc. Some people don't like to call it that. And for the record, I am not a Naruto fan, but I do like to joke about that arc specifically, the Sasuke retrieval arc. I just call this the Bakugo retrieval arc, because at the end of the camp, you get Bakugo being kidnapped by the League of Villains, but with the camp, we get introduced to probably one of my favorite teams in terms of just when they show up, I'm just kind of, it just puts a smile on face, and that's the Pussycats. And they are they're rescue heroes, but they focus on like mountainous landslides and whatnot, and that kind of relates to their quirks a lot, because one can do telekinesis, the one can control the earth, and one is also search, which is really handy, and sadly gets stolen by what becomes the intro to the true antagonist, which we get named lip serviced at the end of season 2, which is All for One. And it is All for One is one of those villains that's just so creepy, and I give Hayashi credit because the score for All for One is so menacing, because you have this like very deep, dark beat to it, and then you have this operatic vocal track that gets added to that like deep darkness, and you have this elegance, but also you have this creepy factor to it, and it just works. It works perfectly well, and you definitely feel all these characters like what they feel. Like you are so just ooh, you are a creeper. And this is where I start to. This is the beginning of Bakugo's redemption for me. Season 3 is a lot about Bakugo's redemption, in my opinion, and this is the beginning of it, where at the end of the Bakugo retrieval arc, you have this character being kidnapped by the villains, trying to bring them to his side, but Aizawa and the rest of the teachers know Bakugo's not that guy. He's not gonna be a turncoat. He's actually so dedicated to being a hero that it doesn't, like, he's not gonna turn into a villain. Why would he? He's confident that he can be a hero, and that dedication is kind of where I started to go, okay, I'm starting to understand Bakugo a lot more. And again, that's also Horikoshi just kind of deciding, yeah, I went a little too far with Bakugo, and season 3 is mostly him trying to build Bakugo back up from negative whatever, which was where he was at the end of season 1 for a lot of people. Because he's a bully, and no one likes bullies. But obviously, the big fight of this first half of the season is the battle between All Might and All for One. And this is the final moment where Toshinori, All Might, is going to put it to rest. Like, One for All is not his anymore. It's Deku's. And this is his last stand. This is his last breath of the power that he had. And I love the metaphor. The metaphor of just this fire within him is starting to snuff out. And as a final act, he defeats All for One with a mighty fucking smash. One final smash to end it. And also end his tenure as a hero. And one of the big things in episode 50 specifically is when Toshinori goes like, you know, I was willing to die in that battle with All for One, but when I saw the rest of the students escape with Bakugo, I made the decision to live. And it's just this profound moment where you go, okay, All Might has decided he's going to live for his students. He's not living for anyone else anymore. He's found his goal to live on through. And I think that's the best way to kind of cap off an episode 50. Episode 50 is very cool, and it's interesting because we have some of the best moments, specifically the idea that in episode 50, we have the second half of episode 50 is just All Might Toshinori trying to convince Izuku's mother to let him come back to UA and have him finish what he started. And because obviously they're going into the dorms, they have decided, okay, we're going to take, the students have been in so much danger, and in order to protect them, it's best that we have them on campus at all times. And I think that is that's a smart idea, obviously. Principal Nezu was in the planning stages of this already, so it's just basically upping the timetable, whatnot. And it's this introduction of this independence of these kids that you start to understand, okay, now we're getting into a new era. Like, this is a new era of My Hero Academia at the end of this first half of season 3, is we have brought everything to a new era, and the old era is over. Here's the next step. And we're actually going to soon be in the transitioning to the next step in the anime. For us manga readers, we know what's coming, and the next step is coming. And it's going to be one hell of a season 6. But with that out of the way, we still need to finish up season 3, 4, and 5, plus 2 movies. So join us next week when we take on the second half of season 3. That is going to be episodes 51 all the way through 63. So see you guys then. Plus Ultra, everybody. Roll that music.